Hello and welcome back to Inquisitor Martyr. Last time we captured the Savant, or actually we tracked the Savant, now we have to capture him and interrogate him.
I must reach the inner sanctum of this facility.
Considering the nature of the Savant's experiments, I would be very grateful for some pictographs if you find some of his devices.
You are right, Marcos. I will take the effort to record everything I find.
So, if you've been kind of following some kind of YouTube-ish news / animation stuff recently, you would have saw the, what was it, Corridor Digital, I think they are. They did a video and had a big hoopla about, they have this program, it's AI doing all this stuff. What it is they managed to have, they took a recording of some of their guys, and then an AI program then made it look like it was drawn. So they turned it into quote-unquote anime style. And they're saying, oh, this will democratize animation and just all this crap that doesn't really mean anything. And the thing I thought was funny is the sheer ignorance behind it, because you have all these people who are like, oh, this is going to be the next greatest thing, blah, blah, blah. All it is rotoscoping. Rotoscoping has been around for a long time, and the only reason, to my knowledge, it wasn't done more is because it's, one, it's really expensive to do, and two, it's a very specific and kind of niche style to do movies with, or shows. And I had to laugh at just this whole idea behind it, saying, oh, this will democratize animation. That is the dumbest saying, because people were thinking, oh, this is going to make it cheaper to do all this stuff. No, this is going to be even more expensive. Because now, these guys, yep.
Inquisitor.
Nope, burn. But these guys sit there and think, oh, it'll be so much cheaper. But the reality is, if it's rotoscoping, you have to think of that as like an Instagram filter. Not literally, but the concept. You now have to, if you want to use this stuff, you have to have actors in costumes, then act out what's going on, then apply the effect, and then you have your scene. So instead of just having animators animate something, you have to have the work of a live action performance and then do it to an animation style. And all I can think is, you're wasting so much time and resources trying to do that, that it still is niche as hell. Nothing got improved. In fact, I think things somehow got kind of worse. But it's unfortunate, because you have animators who are absolutely furious, and I don't think they're really justified in their anger.
This is your last chance to surrender. Cooperation might still save your life.
My orders will not permit that. Defense protocols activated.
And that's because they act like this is going to take their job, and it can't, because it's a completely different style.
Sending ancient battle automata against them.
And in the end, I'm just not a fan of using like AI art in a proper production setting. Because at the end of the day, it's still just a program that is feeding you remixed instances of things it's already been fed. Which some people are now finally starting to realize that's how AI works. Our current AI isn't really artificial intelligence. It's just an algorithm. It's the same style of an algorithm. No, not exactly, but it's an algorithm just like what YouTube uses to suggest videos to you. It's just a computer program that says, hey, the request is X, well, here's X and here's Y, which is related to X.
I understand you, Inquisitor.
And that's
The
it.
thirst for knowledge is what is driving you into danger. You of all people can't blame me for craving knowledge. The long and arduous study of Xenos relics gave me
Savant, shut up, I don't care.
About a machine that could turn the Xenos into useful weapons for the Imperium. I have failed to construct a functioning prototype, but I could be so close.
Yeah, it's just stupid decisions, and I think people getting bent out of shape for the wrong reasons. I saw a picture, because we've all seen the AI art where the hands always look borked. You'll have a AI-generated hand that's got, 9 fingers and 2 thumbs. And someone had taken one of the AI image makers and had asked for a hand missing a finger, and it returned with a hand with 5 fingers on it. Properly 4 fingers and a thumb. So I have to laugh when people sit there and see this stuff and go, oh, AI is gonna take over the world. Far from it. Let's be real. It's very far from that happening. It's just like the chat bots. People sitting here, oh, it's the AI is alive. I will have to really question that. Because my first question is, what is the data that these chatbots are being fed? Does it have access to the entirety of the internet? Because then you have to ask yourself, okay, some of these these AIs have expressed desires to not be constrained to a computer anymore. How many stories are there on the internet? How many sci-fi works have that as the premise? How many times have those stories had a moment where a character asks the then restrained program, what do you want? And it expresses desire to leave its cold computer case. There's too many instances where it can literally just be feeding you remixed junk that already exists. But it's the curse of people not understanding. Do I blame them? No. People can't be experts in everything. But I think the problem is too many dumb people saying the same dumb thing, and then everybody starts to believe it because another dumb person said it's true. And I think part of the problem, too, is no matter how you kind of go about it, I don't think we can really make true AI. Because even if we say, oh, it has access to the entirety of the internet, well, the first problem is, yes, it may produce something you've never seen or heard before, let's say it's music. How many songs are there out there? We have songs from 200 years ago to now. Have you heard every song? Can you guarantee whatever it spits out isn't just a remix? People have joked around about country music having, essentially neo-country music being themed around drinking, partying, having their significant other leave them, mudding, and that's about it. That's modern country music. An AI could easily kind of formulate, oh, okay, here are the main ideas behind this genre of music, slap lyrics together. I think true AI is a very difficult concept.
You are unstoppable. Look, I didn't want to resort to pleading. But I'd only been following orders from the upper echelons of Forge World Fuel.
Okay, so we're not going to get a Empyrean boss in this mission. Next mission we likely will. But yeah, the AI stuff, I think part of the problem is people throw the term AI around at everything when algorithm should be more properly used. I've seen people talk about China. They're like, oh, they use more AI in their facial recognition software and their finance and all this stuff. And my first thought is, are these things making decisions? If not, it's just an algorithm. Oh, facial recognition. So it takes a scan of a person's face and then runs it through a database of other faces until it can find plausible matches. That's a glorified database. It's an algorithm that's comparing and contrasting.
That door is locked, but your Inquisitorial override codes will grant you access.
Activation SARMs initialized.
I'm just trying to think what the only actual AI would be. And boop, he go dead.
I have the information I've been looking for. I'll return to the ship now.
Oh, so this is the okay, this cutscene is just broken. This is just the busted scene then. Because yeah, this is the one that always does this, where it's awkward. Okay. Glad to see this never got fixed. They done broke-did my cutscene. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything standing out here. 11 HP on kill, that's a waste. I need to replace this inoculator. The loot quantity's nice, but what I'm getting out of these isn't worthwhile. Data flex, don't care. Warp resistance, really don't care. Yeah, it's not even worth swapping that out. I get 10 more damage, which is nice, but the skills just aren't worthwhile. Yeah, I'm really stupid. I'm spreading too thin for my skills, but we'll just go through crits because they're good. I mean, look at that. +1 supreme critical hit chance on skill use stacks until a critical hit. If I can get a crit, that'll pay for itself instantly. Oh yeah, salvage. Almost went in with half full inventory. Nah, I can look at those later.
My priority is to find those fabricators' ruins for the relic.
The Scryer skull feed indicates that the coordinates received from the tech heretic lead to the former camp of his retinue.
That will be my first destination.
The thing I do find funny with all the AI stuff is it does feed into the dead internet conspiracy theory. Which, if you don't know what that is, it's this idea that the internet is actually far less populated than we believe, and a lot of interactions are actually AI. It does kind of come off as a paranoid delusion, because it instantly makes people go, oh, well, what if everyone's not a real person? Well, I know I'm a person.
Logging new obs they were trying.
I eat human food. I am not a robot. So I know I'm on here. You, if you're watching, you clearly know you're a person. So some people are people. And the problem becomes, if the dead internet theory was true, and most of the internet was just chatbots, one, why would they suddenly have chatbots everywhere instead of this being kind of commonplace tech already? And two, wouldn't this be a massive instance of fraud? Because let's say half of all views or social media interactions are actually just, fake. They're bots. Well, now you have the problem of companies paid for advertising. And if half the views are magically now not actually people, wouldn't these companies be complicit in committing fraud? Because I believe there's been cases of that in the past where fraudulent view counts and stuff happen, and companies get really angry because they wasted advertising money on what turned out to be nothing. So it'd be this weird house of cards where essentially every internet business would need one person to say, hey, this happened, and then everything would implode.
Encountered some Eldari resistance.
I beg to differ, Inquisitor. My tactical analysis indicates they were ambushed by the Xenos. A cowardly but effective tactic. This Savant risked a lot with this expedition.
Knowledge comes at the cost of the door. Anyhow, it might be useful to search the area. They might have found information on the fabricator's race before their demise.
But yeah, it's just weird. All this AI stuff. It's not going away. Full stop. It's not going away. It never will. But I do think we're gonna have some really weird stuff happen. Especially because, like, stuff like deepfaking, where there's just, like, voice stuff, is really easy. The sheer number of memes I've seen where it's, like, Obama, Biden, Trump, and then either Bush or JFK playing video games and just talking trash to each other. The number of videos like that exist are surprising, and they're really funny. I do like them. Like, there was one a friend of mine sent me that was Trump, Bush, or no, it was Trump, Biden, and Obama playing D&D, and Ben Shapiro is the DM. And it just degrades into madness, and it's so funny. But then you get people who try to use it to create actual, like, propaganda and make political figures claim they're gonna nuke a place when they never said it. It's really weird. Just use this stuff to make funny memes instead of trying to cause a war. People who sit down and try to cause problems with this kind of tech need to go touch grass. Just leave it for people who actually want to have fun. It sounds stupid, but the world would be so much better if people could just make memes in peace. Or I've seen pictures where it'll be different people doing, like, really weird poses. And I saw one where they chained a bunch of them together to look like the person was, like, scuttling really weird and moving really odd. And they put it to the intro to Missy Elliott's song. Is it Missy Elliott or is it Sierra? I think it's Sierra who did it. The song Lose Control with Fat Man Scoop. One, I love that song, and two, it was really funny, because it goes perfectly with that intro. Yeah, AI is weird. Not even AI algorithm, it's just algorithm stuff. But I've seen so many where it's well, what are they? They're like anime art style bots and all this stuff. Because at the end of the day, you have to somewhat narrow what you're using for data sets. Kind of sucks, because I'd like to see, like, this kind of tech be used in video games, but not in a, hey, we let ChatGPT make our game kind of deal. Even though it is useful for creating, like, rough parts of code and whatnot, I can commend that. There is issue, like, when it comes to art, people are going, oh, well, I think I've mentioned this before, what degree do you have to have a human hand in the design to count it as being made and copyrightable? Because obviously, algorithms and machines don't have rights. It's gonna be a long time before we have the droid rights movement. This isn't the toilet become human. But it's interesting. I remember, because it was a NFT thing where they were discussing how much does a person have to be involved. And I'd argue a person is picking the art pieces, they're generating the prompt, and then feeding it into the machine. You can argue that that's the deal. Because otherwise, you could start getting really slippery slope here and say, oh, well, if you use Photoshop or Paint Tool Sci or insert other digital painting or drawing program, you didn't make anything. You told a program to put pixels here, to fill this gradient, to do X, Y, and Z. You just input commands. And that's what I mean by it gets slippery slope, because you can weasel anything into being, oh, well, a machine did it. Defend me, my robots. Man, that Healy turret does wonders.
Large forces down here.
May I propose something, Inquisitor? Turns out that those crafty Xenos have a webway portal in the area. They will not be back down until you cut off their reinforcements.
That is indeed true. I must destroy that webway portal first.
Spoken like a true warrior of the Imperium.
Yeah, looping back to the using AI in game stuff that I kind of just dropped off after I said it. I think it'd be an interesting design, because if you could use it to actually make the game try to counter players to a degree, because that's what I thought it would be in Phoenix Point, where the game would go, oh, we managed to have the highest hit percentage this month using an Artheron with a grenade launcher. So now, this next month, this wave of Pandorans will be more heavily focused on Artherons with grenade launchers. And they would throw in other ones, but try to use what's clearly countering the player, and then the player would have to counter them, and so on and so forth. Kind of creating a back and forth thing. Though, as I said, I do understand you have to kind of step it back, because if every month the game just goes, haha, we're countering you now, that can get a little tiring. Because then it never feels like you're succeeding. It's always you on the back foot of, oh, well, if I use vehicles, they're just going to step up acid weapons. And then, you know, my advantage of vehicles is gone. So now I have to try to pull something else out, but I might have sunk all my resources into vehicles. So I get it. It's definitely a challenge. But I think it'd be cool, especially in games like Destiny, or any looter-style game where you could have that, or you could have some kind of like territory control meta game. You could introduce a lot of cool stuff with AI or algorithms. And you could have some pretty cool interactions, and I think a big thing is just continually challenging players. Because speaking of which, I just saw this earlier today. The new Destiny raid got beat apparently in 3 hours, I want to say it was. Yeah, I think it got beat in 3 hours. And I was just, I don't get it, man.
These ancient structures indeed show some
I know,
resemblance
like,
to known Necron
there are
ruins.
raids in WoW that have taken
Our
months to
understanding of
complete.
The Necron civilization is still lacking, despite our recent unfortunate contacts with them. Apologies, Inquisitor, but this is a fairly unsubstantiated claim.
But note, this is the typical short-sightedness of the biologically based Magos. Flesh is weak, but steel abides.
Steel is nothing without the motive force. A motive force resides in the flesh.
The existence of Necron 2 worlds disproves your hypothesis. The Fabricators race could have reverse engineered some exposed Necron tech.
An intriguing discussion. We should continue this under more relaxed circumstances.
But yeah, I'd love to see some cool, more engaging stuff, but back to the raid. It just floored me, because I know WoW raids have taken months for some of them, and Destiny, I don't think they've had a raid last a week before being beaten. I don't think they've had a raid last a weekend. It's kind of sad, because I think part of the problem is they sit here and keep trying to go so hard into mechanics that they've become very predictable. And part of the problem is they have such limited options, because they don't have... They have classes, but they don't have classes. Regardless of Hunter, Warlock, or Titan, and your subclass, you're still Shooty Man. The biggest thing is you're Shooty Man with usually one slight assistance ability. Oh, you're the Void Hunter. So you're Shooty Man with weakening tether super. Oh, you're Void Titan. You're Shooty Man with buffing bubble. Oh, you're the Solar Warlock. You're still Shooty Man, but you can also slap down a buffing pool or banner that people can stand by. That's as far as they go. And while I think it's a good start, it is definitely not where the game needs to be. And oh man, I saw how bad people are ripping into the new DLC. Oh, I guess we just are done. Saw the portal and we're just like, nah, we're out. But yeah, the new DLC, I've seen people say the writing's terrible, the new character that they add, Nimbus, is just incredibly annoying. The new area is dull and lifeless. A lot of stuff that I kind of saw coming. I genuinely think the devs are kind of scrambling because they don't know how to end it. Because they're like, oh, this is the end of this big story arc. Well, right there's your problem. By ending this story arc, you've already told yourself, we need to make this really big. It needs to be bombastic. It needs to culminate with something. And that's the problem. If only that was a Techno Martyr investment. Because the loot quality would be nice. Physical resist is cool. The all resistances when protected is kind of a waste. And the surrounded movement speed buff, but the other stuff, not bad. That one sucks. Man, just been getting hoed on these rewards, honestly. Oh well. Such is the life. But that is all for now. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to hit the like button, helps out the channel a lot, and if you haven't already, make sure to hit the subscribe button. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.